Spider-Man No Way Home has been my most anticipated film of 2021, but does it live up to the hype? Let's find out. Before getting into the review, let me tell you that this is going to be a completely spoiler-free review. I'm not going to talk about any spoilers. I promise I'm not going to talk about spoilers. So just sit back and enjoy. I grew up watching Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films. I went on to Andrew Garfield's and now Tom Holland's. I love each and every single iteration of Spider-Man. So naturally, I had huge expectations for this film. And not only did the film exceed those expectations, but it also made for a genuinely heartfelt superhero film and probably one of the best superhero films I've seen in a long time. And I do not say that lightly. There were a lot of moments in this film that I never thought I'd see in a Spider-Man film. I mean, I never would have imagined that I would be sitting in the theater watching a film that had these Spider-Man moments. Just from the trailers, you can see that the film brings in a lot of villains from the older classic Spider-Man films. You have Doc Ock, Green Goblin, the Lizard, Sandman, Electro. I mean, that's just too much, even for the trailer. And going in, I did have huge expectations, but I was also skeptical as to whether they can balance out that many number of villains and that many number of characters and put forward a story that feels cohesive. And the film genuinely did that. I was invested in what was happening from the opening scene to the end, and there was never a moment that felt out of place or messy or scattered. One of the biggest problems of Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is that they just had an overabundance of villains. It almost felt like they were repeating that with this film again, but the end product truly surprised me in the way that it was able to balance out all of these characters. And this film has moments that I never imagined I would have seen in a Spider-Man film. There are a lot of those moments, but none of them feel like cheap fan service. I mean, they actually have a rhyme and reason to exist there, and all of it is set up in a way that makes the moments feel earned. I mean, it's not just them going like, hey, look, that's Dr. Octopus from another movie. Hey, that's Green Goblin from another movie. Hey, that's Electro guy from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like there is a reason for these villains to be in this movie, and all of it just plays out beautifully. At this point, I don't really need to tell you that Spider-Man films have great action, or a Marvel film for that matter. But the visuals and the action in this movie were truly amazing. There were moments which genuinely gave me goosebumps, especially the final 30 minutes of this film. Oh man, I don't want to give away anything, but there is one fight that happens towards the end of the movie which was so brutal. I was just clutching to my seat. That's how intense that fight was, and lot of action sequences all throughout. You might have seen in the trailer that there was a glimpse of Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange going on. That was just visually breathtaking to watch. And this movie probably has the most heartfelt emotion of any Spider-Man film ever. I mean, I was surprised constantly at how invested I was into these characters. It truly takes its time to set up the characters. It truly takes Tom Holland's version of Peter Parker in this film, and the way it develops his character tugged my heartstrings multiple times. And the way the film approaches its end, it was surprising, shocking, yet somehow profound and poignant. I never would have expected that range of emotion being displayed in a Spider-Man film. I'm not just talking about Peter Parker's character, be it MJ or Ned, or all of the villains in fact. And we actually spend a lot of time with the villains, getting to know them a little better. It's not just like action. Spider-Man goes there, he fights with one villain, then he goes to another place, he fights with another villain. There is actually a reason for why all of these things are happening. They genuinely spend time to let us know more about these characters and these villains especially, which is one thing that I didn't expect to see from this film. As you can see, I loved this film, and there were a lot of moments that were just for a Spider-Man fan. It's truly among the greatest Spider-Man films ever made. I thought the attention to detail while writing these characters, bringing back older villains and other characters from the other Spider-Man films, if you know what I mean, it's all done in a way that just felt fulfilling. I thought almost every moment after moment, the film was genuinely surprising me with its twists, with its turns, with all of the things that were happening and the range of emotions I was going through. But there was one small thing that I didn't particularly like about the film, and it's the fact that a few sequences, the humor felt forced. It's not that the humor was bad, it's not like the jokes were bad or they didn't land. It's just that the way the humor was inserted into the story, it felt unnecessary. The story starts out in a light-hearted manner, but it keeps building a darker tone. And when suddenly you have this MCU type of a joke thrown into the film, it just took away the intensity that moment had. That's the only thing that bothered me. But other than that, I think it's a near perfect Spider-Man film that has amazing visuals, great action, a genuinely heartfelt story, and the way it brings all of the other characters from the other Spider-Man films, it was all done in a way that truly impressed me. I'm really satisfied right now. With all of that said, I'm going to give Spider-Man No Way Home a solid A. On the entertainment scale, I will give it a 9.5 out of 10. I had a blast watching this one. So that was my review for Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm truly satisfied right now, and tell me your thoughts down in the comments. And if you're talking about spoilers, just put a huge spoiler tag there, because I know a lot of people may not have watched the film yet. Just comment whatever you want to talk about this film. I am super interested to have a nice lively conversation down in the comment section with you guys. If you found this video interesting or if you liked it, do consider giving it a like. Also consider subscribing to the channel for more such content. Also check out these other videos that will appear on the screen. Thank you very much once again for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again.